you know, doing funded accounts evaluations and getting to a point where you're making consistent targets and you're hitting all your take profits and you're really living the dream, etc., whatever. Just was recording for about half an hour and then realized I actually wasn't recording. So we're just going to restart and act like that never happened. So I was talking about, hypothetically, you enter at the swing low on a limit buy. Your take profit is just above previous levels. And this is 3.2R. In this situation, what are you doing? Ask yourself. Are you staying in this as soon as, well, assuming you have multiple profit targets, are you going to stay in and not move your stops depending on what each target is saying? Personally, the reason I wanted to make this video is to obviously teach you how to manage risk, but also how to do it in a way where you're not losing anything. The worst thing that can happen is you get stopped out at your break even or even above that, and you make a little amount of money to nothing. So the point I made was, this is something that my mentor, Bahaz, taught me a while ago when I was starting to trade currencies and stuff and really getting into the swing of things and trying my funded accounts, etc. And it's when, say you get tapped in or off this wick here, price swings up to this previous level, your take profit one gets triggered. This whole thing is based on, as soon as that take profit one or your first profit target gets triggered, you move your stops all the way to break even. Wherever you entered, you move it all the way to break even. And you trim 50% off of your position, no matter what you were selling or buying or whatever time or whatever's happening. The discipline of this strategy is you take 50% as soon as your first profit target is hit. And then if it hits 2 or 3, fair enough, you made a killing. If it goes back to your break even or wherever you trailed your stop, say if price reaches this zone, I'm trailing my stops and moving it up. Watch my crosshair. I'm moving it up to here. If it goes all the way up to 4916, 4920 zone, I'm moving it up here. And I'm following my order and where it's at with my stops just to mitigate risk and help sort of eliminate it from my trade, because one messes with everyone's heads, and no one can deny that until you become a really experienced trader and you've worked in many different situations with different accounts and different people and you've had multiple mentors, etc. But it's the same goes, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. Any news event that can happen, that something can go terribly wrong in the world or terribly right, and it can either stop you out or trigger your profits. And people who are willing to make that risk, fair enough. People who are sort of smarter, more conservative with it, in my opinion, are always going to get the right side of the stick, because the player's going to get to a certain level. They're going to mitigate the risk by just saying, look, I'm going to take 50%, 25% of my trade. I'm going to move my stops to break even. The worst thing that can happen is price comes straight back down to my break even and pulls a full reversal on my bias, whatever, and stops me out, and I don't lose anything, but I don't make anything. The best thing that can happen is your TP2 gets hit, your TP3 gets hit, and all throughout that time where you wasn't looking at the chart, because it doesn't matter, you're not losing any money, all throughout that time of TP2 and TP3 getting hit, you weren't even watching. The worst possible situation is you get stopped out at a previous level, or even you move your stop, like I said, you trail it up into profit. You get stopped out in profit. You've still made a little bit of cash, or even a lot if you're trading huge lot sizes. You've still made a decent amount because you've mitigated the risk and you've said, no, I'm going to be sensible and I'm going to do this because of this. Really important. And a lot of people just ignore it, especially when they're going for funded accounts. You need to be careful with this stuff because drawdown will catch you. And you're only allowed to lose X amount the same way you're only required to, win back X amount. Say you get a 10K funded account, just a little one, and your profit target is 8%, that's $800, obviously. But your drawdown and your max loss is also, your max daily loss is 5%. If you're risking however much on this trade and it exceeds your max daily loss for whatever reason, I'd, first of all, wouldn't place it, but if it even came near, I'd take the first chance I got to mitigate that risk and chop it out of the game, because what am I doing? What's the reason? Just to risk losing a lot just to make a little more, or to make a decent amount more. Besides the point. This whole strategy is based on, as soon as it hits 1R, 2R, in this situation, if I move it back down to a normal level where it was at, it's about 3.5R. As soon as I reach 1.5R, this level, like halfway through my trade, if it even wicks me out, I'll have a limit there that will say sell off half my position. No matter how big it is, how small it is, sell off half, and I'll move my stops to break even. So now, if it comes back down and stops me out and it goes back up, it's fair. I didn't see it. If it comes back down and scoops all the way down, it's fair because I missed out on losing so much more money than I have lost. I haven't lost anything, but I would have lost a lot more if I didn't mitigate that risk and chop out my game early. In some situations, you might, if my stop was here, you might get stopped out and wicked out, and it bums you out, and then you go up and exceed past your take profit levels. This stuff really happens, and it's rare that you'll place a trade, you'll get wicked in perfectly, and then all three targets will get hit without even entering your stop loss. A lot of people who don't follow signals from people who know insider information will do that, won't do that, sorry. So you really need to be careful and mitigate that risk whenever you can. But I'm going to do more videos on this in the future, how to manage risk, how to maybe get closer to passing your funded evaluations and receiving that payout that you've been dreaming of, no matter how big the account is, whether it's 1 million, 100K, 25K, 5K. We all start somewhere, and I'm here to respect that. I haven't done the most myself. I've been trading in the currency markets now for about 3 years on the dot. Haven't made any substantial, huge profits I can show you on the screen and have you dreaming about. But it's because, one, I started when I was 14, 15. I've now just turned 18 back in August. It's now January. And I'm starting to get back into the rhythm of things after taking a few tactical breaks because of personal reasons, etc. But I won't get into that. I'll get into that in future videos. But I'm getting back into it now, and I'm realizing that it's never as complicated as people think it is. Because people want to sell you their next product, etc. They're going to say it's a lot more complicated than it is, but it's really not. In my opinion, and what Bahazir taught me, my mentor that I mentioned earlier on in the video, is you want to make accurate plays, you want to get sniper entries, even if it's a worse entry, it's not sniper entry exactly. It goes a little bit into your stops. You don't back out when it's in your stops. If it hits your stop, that's it. That's poor evaluation from you. If it scoops up and hits halfway through, or even 1 or 2R, you take away half of that position immediately, and you move your stops to break even to get rid of any sort of risk that could have ever possibly happened. And it is so important, because as soon as that happens, you might have made more if you kept your stops open because it went down and then it went back up and then went down and whatever. But the main aim of this game is to mitigate risk as soon as you can, because so many people, if we're looking at this is millions of retail buyers getting stopped out, and you don't want to be that guy. Take this with a pinch of salt. You know it's the right thing to do. In my opinion, you all know it's the right thing to do. Past those evaluations, I'm going to upload more videos on how to sort of get closer. As I'm doing it with myself, so I'm going to buy a new one, only a 10K one for like $60. I'm going to show you how quick I can flip it. I made a practice account today for a 10K funded on MT4. Just literally set up a demo this morning, made a few plays pre-market, and then sort of had limits open, and that's it so far. I've already done 5%. Hopefully you can see that 5% in a day. Profit target on a 10 is 8%. So that's, more than half done already. And as you can see, effective in this play. 3 of those sell limits didn't originally get hit, so they got deleted. But this one here, the gold play, got stops. I didn't lose any money because I had it at break even. I didn't want to watch it. I was busy doing stuff. So it's just so important that you take this with a pinch of salt, and you know that it's the right thing to do. And if you feel that it's the right thing to do with your strategy, it varies. You might be a riskier player. You might just not like the way it works. You might like the fact of sort of having that little dip and then soaring up. If you're confident in your analysis, go for it. I'm just teaching you what I've learned in order to stop you having the same problems that I had in my past experiences. So I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, do all that good stuff like everyone else says. If you know a friend that's struggling with this problem, send it to him. It does no harm. And if you want to see more of different stuff, just let me know in the comments below. And I will be doing it as soon as possible. My goal for 2024 is to keep this running as long as I can. So make me. See you all later.